All right, so today I'm going to be working on these contactors. Well, the contacts out of the contactors. So I've separated these already. So I've got about 11 grams worth of brass contacts and 10.5 grams worth of copper contacts. Well, contacts that are on copper and contacts that are on brass. So what I'm going to be trying is a solution of citric acid, salt, and a little bit of hydrogen peroxide to see if we can eat just the base metals. This will be a cost-effective way. It won't be nearly as fast as nitric, but I want to get started. I want to see how it's going to work. So first I'm going to make the solution, and it's 2 to 1. Because I mean, I've got a bunch of these, right? So I got to figure out a way to save some of that nitric without having to eat all of this base metal up. And drilling them out is a pain in the rear. All right, so my solution, what we're gonna do is we want 2 to 1. We want 2 parts citric acid, 1 part salt, and then basically just enough hydrogen peroxide to dissolve all of the physical in the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it off in the 500 milliliter just to make the solution, and then I'll split it up between the two, and then go ahead and split my copper and then my brass, and we'll see how it does. And it's not going to be super scientific. It's basically just going to be 2 tablespoons of citric, I got 5 pounds of this for, I want to say, 16 bucks. So it's fairly cheap, and a gallon of that was 16. So if this works, that could be a pretty good savings. There we go. And we'll start off with 250 milliliters. We'll see if that dissolves it or not. And I'm not even going to use heat. I'm just going to let this this nice hot sun do it, and we'll see how it goes. So we'll let that hydrogen peroxide dissolve all this up here, and I'll get back to you. All right, so my solution has basically devoured all of our solid at the bottom. So we got 250. There we go. And let's go to separate. We got brass, copper, brass, copper, 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 brass, 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 and copper. Okay. And these have been incinerated already. All right, so we can see we've got a pretty immediate reaction. And it's pretty warm. I'd say it's probably 85 right now. But yeah, look at Look at the color on that brass there. So let's see, what time is it? It's 12:30 right now, so I'll get a timer on it. Yeah, we got some blue, we got copper going into solution already. And so I'm outside, of course. My exhaust fan is delayed. They didn't, it shipped, but they went to a different location first. So I am doing this outside just because I am not sure the gases that this is going to produce. This could produce some dangerous gases, I imagine, just like everything else we do. So better safe than sorry. And yeah, take it back to the how I used to do it outside here. Alright, so I did have a little chunk of stainless steel sheet metal from a job I did yesterday, actually. So I'm going to use that as a base. It should be a good conductor of heat, and so that'll help kind of expedite it a little bit. Cheap, cost-effective way. You can use this over and over, and you're just using the power of the sun. A beautiful hawk. All right, so it's been about 45 minutes. We still have reaction going on. I don't see too much difference. I can see some separation in the riveted pieces. There's some space in between, so it is removing. I don't know if it can catch it up here. Ooh, I don't know if you can catch it here. But there's quite a bit of space in between the rivet, the copper, and the brass now. Let's see, we'll go like that. I imagine this is going to be a fairly slow endeavor. Now, my next go around with the hydrogen peroxide, I might go for 6% versus 3%, and that might be a little faster, but I've got most of that gallon left, so if this has to sit out here for quite some time, I have no problem with that. But it's definitely working. We definitely have copper in solution. No question about that. Alright, so we got a 2-hour update. Our solutions are pretty dark. So the brass, I don't see really any reaction. But I do see bubbling coming off the copper. So I'm not sure if the excess zinc does something to the solution, but I don't see any bubbles coming off of this either. Let's see here. You can see there's a pretty good separation between that contact and the copper. So it's definitely dissolving the copper. I mean, we can see that in the color. But I'm not too sure why this one stopped. I mean, we made it out of the same. We made it out of the same solution. Well, maybe what I'll try to do is add a little bit more citric acid and some salt to this and see if we can kind of rejuvenate it. All right. So we're going to go with a tablespoon of citric acid and a half tablespoon, roughly, of salt. Get that big clump. That'll be all right. Well, the salt and citric acid dissolved, but I am not seeing a reaction at all. So we might have to add more hydrogen peroxide. I'll let this sit for a little while just to see if anything changes. Like if it'll take a second for that reaction to kick back in. I'm not thinking it's going to. I'm thinking we're going to need more peroxide, but because it was a relatively quick reaction in the when we first added this. I'm going to add the same to this so we can keep it similar. So there we go. And then I'll go ahead and grab my hydrogen peroxide. Well, quite the difference in reaction. All right, let's go get some more peroxide. All right. About 50 milliliters. About 50 milliliters. Alright, yep, that looks like that kicked the reaction back up. You can see some bubbling going on in the brass here. Imagine the copper's going to take just a couple of seconds like the brass one did. We got some really good reaction going on to the brass now. Well, at least better than it was, should say. And there's the reaction out of the copper. Got some good bubbles coming out of there now. You can see me knocking the bubbles off. They're very small bubbles, so I don't know if the camera's gonna pick them up. But cool, it's back at it. Let's get another time count on and see where we go from there. All right, well, so it's the next day. This has been sitting overnight, and I don't know if you can see in the bottom of that there. We do have some silver chloride that formed. We can also see a little bit on the top, and I still have quite a bit of material left on these contacts. So I would have to say this would work, especially if, you know, maybe you have a hard time getting acids. But I don't think this is the way I'm going to go with trying to, alright, we're just going to dump it like this. I don't think I'm going to even finish it. So there we go. Now we can see we got all that silver chloride there at the bottom. This was the copper one. Let me go rinse these off, and we'll see what we like this. There we go. Yeah, so there's still quite a bit of copper left on there. Now, there's no question that this would work if we continued to add it. I just don't think it's going to do exactly what I'm looking for. As we can see, I did dissolve the silver along with the base metal. And that's going to be silver chloride because we got salt in here. So I still have to take care of that with, you know, the lye and sugar method. So I think it's going to create quite a bit of waste if I do it that way, because I got to rinse the heck out of all that silver chloride, and then I have to use lye, and then I got to rinse all the lye out, and then sugar, and then I got to rinse all the sugar out, and then I can melt it up. I don't think this is exactly what I'm looking for. I think the piranha solution is going to be the way to do it, especially with the amount I have, because then I'm going to only be targeting the silver. So I think that's going to be the next trial, and I'm going to try it a couple different ways. I'm going to try heating it, and I'm going to try it, well, at first I'm going to try not heating it, see how long it takes. Because if it sits in there for a day or two, it dissolves all the silver, and I can eliminate that danger of heating the sulfuric acid up, because it's dangerous enough as it is, but when you boil it or even heat it up, it is nasty. So maybe I'll attempt it with a small batch just like this, and we'll go with 10 grams, 11 grams, somewhere around there, and see how it works with it cold. This would work, like I said. It's going to involve a couple different processes. Maybe I added too much peroxide. Maybe that's why I started to oxidize the silver. But it's only 3%, so I don't think it would have been too much. But maybe a couple of different trials, or maybe the smaller contacts that I have. This is a pretty thick piece of copper on there. You got the copper base metal, you got the copper rivet, and then just a little silver contact. So maybe I'm trying to do too much copper. I've got like a couple of contacts that are basically just a sheet of copper, or contacts that have a sheet that are basically pressed into a sheet of copper. Now that might be a little better for those, just because it's the actual amount of copper that I'd be dissolving is very minuscule. Because you could see quite a bit of it, the copper has been dissolved. There's no question about that. I just think that there's too much there for this solution. I don't think I'm fitting it all in here. Let's see. And it did pretty well with the brass too. And we got another layer of silver chloride there at the bottom. Let's see. And you can see the edge there. It started to eat that copper. Something's going on in the background. Well, cool. So, let me know if you want me to continue this. I'll make a part 2. I'll keep these separate, but what I'll do is I'll rinse all the silver chloride out of there, and then maybe I'll just do both batches in the same thing, because it seems like it's doing, I probably should get a weight on them, just to clear it up. But I don't know if I want to waste the distilled water to rinse it up. So let me know if you want that information. I'll get it for you. If not, no biggie. Beautiful day out here today. Well, on that note, I'm going to finish this one, and I'm going to say part 1 of 2 ? So if you guys want to see the rest of this experiment, or interested in the rest of this experiment, I'll save this outside and I'll wait a week or so. Maybe it doesn't even take that. I'll wait a couple of days with it. If you want to see me dissolve the rest of it with this solution, I will. you know, I still have all my notes recorded, so I know my beginning weights for the brass and the copper, and so maybe I could do a, you know, weight afterwards if you're interested in this. You know, like I said, it seems to be working. It would take quite a bit of that material though to dissolve, you know, the copper and brass that I have left on there. So let me know, all right? And Friday's video, if you want to be included in that, go ahead and send me some pictures, some videos of your lab, all that good stuff. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a while since I've seen all your stuff, so I'm hoping we got some pretty cool projects in the mix. So, all right. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I know I did. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.